I'm delighted to introduce to you three wonderful ladies, the National Association of University Women, who are Miss Phyllis Eggleston, the 19th President and Forever Emerald. She served her tenure from 1994 to 1998. And then we have Dr. Izora Proctor, the 20th President and also a Forever Emerald. She served her tenure from 1998 to 2002. And last but not least, the President, Dr. Lenora Gall. She is the 21st President who is currently serving her tenure 2002 through 2006. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
I want to start off the discussion with talking to Miss Eggleston, the 21st President, and the acquisition of the house. Miss Eggleston, can you tell us a little bit about NAUW and acquiring the house and how that came about?
Oh, I would be happy to, Lisa. It was at our convention in 1992. We were in St. Louis, Missouri, and the membership voted a mandate. They issued a mandate that we should acquire our own property to serve as our national headquarters as soon as possible. At that time, Ruth Corbin was our national president, and she lived in St. Louis. As I served as one of her vice presidents, she asked me to help. She asked me to set up a committee for acquisition of property. That was done, and I made many trips from Philadelphia to Washington to search for property. Of course, I could not do that alone, and I involved some very able people to assist me. One person was Lillian Ross. We considered her our site manager, and she was able to find a broker by the name of Ruby Brooks, who worked very closely with us. She knew what we wanted, she knew how we wanted to use the property, and she kept us abreast of property available. And on every trip that I made to Washington, I brought a member from Philadelphia along with me. And we searched and we searched until we found the house that was right for us. And then there were other folks who really helped in identifying the site and preparing for the official opening of 1001 East Street. People like Audrey Johnson Thornton, who was the National Fundraising Chair. Margie Newman, who came to Washington with me on visits in attempting to identify the site. So there were many folks.
Well, since Billy has started the name calling, perhaps I need to continue. Yes, Paulette served as the building fund chairperson under my administration, and she was the individual who also organized the mortgage burning ceremony. She organized it, and she also expedited it, and it was beautiful. Also, Audrey Thornton served with me as a committee. Phyllis, you also was on that committee. Lillian Ross, who was the property manager, served with me, and she was my contact for the house in Washington, D.C., because you see, I live in Crawley, Louisiana. And so you need some arms, some hands, some feet here in Washington, D.C. to do all the things that need to be done from day to day. I made many trips to Washington, D.C., but even those trips were not enough to do everything that needed to be done. Sandra Smith has served extensively in doing the day-to-day operation here at this house. All of our sectional directors, Audrey Jordan served as the fundraising committee chair, and she did a tremendous job with her committee. And Wilma Scott helped in many ways with the monetary manipulations. She was the financial secretary. Beverly Jackson was the treasurer. And I can go on and on and on. So this was not a one-woman thing at all. This was a collective collaboration between hundreds and hundreds of people that made it happen. And I would go on and hasten to say that it was a team effort. And team means together everyone achieves more.
That's true. And it was an organized process where it was formed that there were different categories where members could contribute. They were under the category of gold, silver, and bronze. Yes, indeed.
Ladies, the listeners and the viewers would love to have a tour of your house. But before we get the tour, I want to talk to Dr. Gall, who is the current president. Began her tenure in 2002, and now it is 2006. Dr. Gall, you gave us a little information about the incorporation of the two presidents, the Forever Emeralds, and getting the house, acquiring the house. Could you please tell us about your continuing with the flame?
Certainly. We started out in 1910 as the College Alumni Club. We had 4 founders, Mary Church Terrell, Dr. Sarah Brown, Dr. Nancy Fairfax Brown, and Mary Cromwell. And they were really brilliant women. And we grew from one alumni club, from the College Alumni Club, into, in 1919, when the call was extended, to the Baltimore branch. That was the first branch that accepted the call to organize. And as a result of that branch beginning, the ladies started to talk about really branching out, because we had members from all over the country. And they said, we really need to start a national organization. And so in 1923, right here in Washington, D.C., we held our first national conference. And the purpose of the conference was really to talk about organizing a national organization. And they divided up into committees, as we do as today. And the committee that had the most responsibility, of course, was the Bylaws Committee. They reconvened in 1924 and accepted the bylaws at that time, and that's how we became known as the National Association of College Women. And from there, we had many, many branches throughout the United States. Also at that conference, we were divided into five sections. It is very important to note that, as Phyllis stated, that in the late 1920s and the early 1930s, those illustrious leaders and women said, we need to start working towards getting a national headquarters. So quite honestly, we have been talking for about 40 years about having a national headquarters before we really took action.